Hello. Today we're gonna paint a painting Edward Hopper Cape Cod Evening with acrylic paints. I have A4 size paper, simple brushes, so it shouldn't be difficult. And we're gonna talk about the painting in itself, some technical elements, also some history. Hope you enjoy. So let's start. So here is the painting. As you can see, there is a couple sitting next to its house. There is a dog and some very nice, interesting trees behind. So I'm going to place my water here instead of the painting. Let's talk maybe first quickly about the colors I'm going to use. Some bluishy tones, but of course feel free to adjust the colors of the trees as you like. So the bluish, you can make them greenish, or even maybe the other way, not that realistically, but the opposite, maybe purple violet. Some light grayish blue. Here I have it mixed, but of course it can be also done mixed using blue, brown, and white. Yeah, I can show it later if you don't know how to mix this pale grayish color. Then we're gonna have this peachy color. Again, it's basically yellow and pink. Yeah, so it's gonna have the part of the grass. I have some orange, can be a bit orangey reddish for some parts of the houses. And of course, white and black for some adding details. Okay, let's start with a pencil sketch for the painting. So the painting has very nice and surprising symmetry. So it's almost the middle from the top is the division between the forest and the house. At the bottom, we have, let's say, maybe a little bit more than 1/3. We can leave also 1/3 of the house. And of course, we do the line a little bit up, so not completely horizontal. The edge of your paper is the relevance that you can always follow. It's always straight. So we place the line up. So it's the rules of perspective. And looking at the painting, let's bring it back a bit. You can also notice that the roof is going down. So, and this is how you can say where is your level of the eye. So if this line is going up, so means the horizontal line, the level of your eyes is above it. These lines are already going down, so it's somewhere here in between. And let's say maybe here where the windows, if you place the pencil and we see it's almost horizontal, that's more or less where so it looks as if it's the real person standing there and looking at them and painting. So it's not the bird's view, it's not the frog's view. Yeah, it's the classical view. Nice. So, but still it's important for us. So probably, let's say maybe somewhere here is the horizontal line. Cool. Like if you want, you can finish this corner here. But still we have this a little bit, there is one more part of the building, so you can also just leave it, otherwise like you anyway need to erase it. So we're bringing one more line down here and a bit lower. So we're gonna like structure the house now. So we're gonna structure this erker part. I'm gonna place the door also with the roof and the window. Yeah. So this is this the line, and then again, so this part of the roof goes down. And here it's gonna be the line going up. So there's gonna be almost parallel as this one. Here is already the line of the grass. So of course, Hopper made very realistically, almost photographically realistic paintings. This line should go a bit down as well, like the other side down. Here we have, we're gonna do, of course, the simplified version of the house. It doesn't have to be that part. So it's not our aim today. Our aim is just to study. It looks a bit huge. Looks a bit huge. Let me think. If here, no, maybe fine. With the color, maybe it's gonna look less. What I meant huge, I meant that the space I have left for the first kind of smaller, but it's gonna be darker, so I think it's gonna be fine. We can place the door here. The door, I mean, it has like some columns going out, but generally the door goes inside. It also has the roof part. So it's basically like you always find this corner, and then you have the lines going like down to the sides to create this effect of perspective and there is a little stair where the person is sitting. And here is the lady standing. Now here we can even see a little bit of the bottom of this roof. Yeah? Maybe not that. The lines, of course, will not be that visible. It's going to be also shadow there, but still. Okay, again, checking with the line. Look, I'm checking with the side of, and I went a bit not so straight. It's fine. We just corrected. Yeah, just bring here. And so just correcting a bit more. Right. Yeah, so sometimes those millimeters matter. Yeah, otherwise it feels that the house is kind of falling down. Okay, what else we have? And we have a window here. Yeah, so the upper line of the window goes down, the lower part of the window goes up, meaning that they somewhere on the line of the horizon, they're gonna meet somewhere here and yeah, somewhere here. If it's the first time you're connected with the perspective, there are a lot of information in the web you can check. So protective rules, nothing difficult. You just need to like understand it once, and then it's easy to use. And yeah, and so exactly. So maybe this line of the fenster division, of the window division, it's the horizontal line. Yeah? Okay. some detailing, maybe of the door. And we're gonna place people. So when you are placing people like in a small scale, that okay, let's place maybe quickly also this part of the, you see, I'm placing here, the line still is going up because it's lower than the horizontal line. So it means it goes up. Yeah, so in perspective, the lines are always going towards the horizontal line. And so even if they are higher, they go down. If they're lower than the line, they go up. Oh, that's a simple rule. So Edward Hopper, an American painter, famous for his realistically made drawings, paintings. But I think mainly he is loved and famous for the feeling their paintings create. And there is always this, I think he was the master of melancholy, loneliness, and showing in his paintings. You can study his biography and artworks, and you will find this aspect. And this is something that gives, there is, it's not tragic, it's just the fact, because in the end, all people are still lonely in some way, and it's kind of just normal. Even, of course, we have friends, we have family, but still we are by ourselves. And I think so let's say now we need to place, here is the woman standing and the person sitting, and then we're gonna have a dog. So of course, since we already have the house, it's kind of comfortable to analyze, okay, the woman standing, your head is ending where the window, middle line, and then the legs are hidden in the grass. The man is sitting and his head is a bit under those door parts. So this is something that helps us to create the size. So basically, we mark upper part, the head, and we mark like the lower part. Once we have these parts, then it's easier already for us to build the rest. Yeah, so we know like what to divide. Then we see, okay, the woman is holding her hands a little bit higher than the middle. And then it's her dress. And of course, not much detailing. So we do a very simple way into proportions, just how big is the person and where is the middle of the person. Yeah. So we just geometrically divide her and okay. Mine one got a bit slimmer than the one of the Hopper. It's fine. And then we have a man. And again, he is sitting, but a bit like his body leans in front. So we just start again. Okay, his legs are somewhere here. So when you need to do these proportions, just try to take and think about it all just as geometry, just as lines. It's not as legs, hands, but as the lines and shape, where one line starts, where one ends, or what parts is it crossing and so on. And like this, it will be easier for you to get the right proportions. Yeah, let's say since he's leaned in front, we just check the position of his head, and it's a little bit like over the knees. Yeah, and again, checking the size of the head. This would be like something just normal, common mistake. Often we get the head smaller. I don't know why it happens. Also by me, I just had it smaller. So I already am aware of this typical mistake. So just making it a bit bigger and then just evaluating how it looks. Nice. All right, the trees. So I'm not gonna sketch the trees, but let's sketch the dog. Yeah? Because still the dog also requires proportions. It requires erasing. So it's good to do it before we start with paints and colors. Again, composition way, the dog is right in the middle of this line. Maybe it's also something a hopper plant. So this composition trick that the line kind of leans, brings our view to this side. So then, and here will be the, and again, so we need, of course, to create the body of the dog that it looks like a dog. And doesn't have to be perfect, but still proportions are important. So we're just doing it, analyzing the size, and okay. Nice. Okay, we can move to the colors, I suppose. Okay, maybe also adding a little bit of this, some decorations. This painting has also a little bit story of the times. So this location is not something real. So the name is Cape Cod. That is the place in the States, in the East Coast, not so far away from Boston. And still it's like rural area. And I think in some way also Hopper was showing the differences between the urbanistic and the rural areas in those times. So the progress was coming to the cities, and some areas of the state still were left a little bit forgot. And but still, to me, Hopper paintings are all about those melancholy, loneliness feeling. That again is not something sad. It's just the fact to accept, to embrace. So this painting is called Cape Cod Evening, and there is also painting called Cape Cod Morning that was painted, I think, 11 years later. So this one, 1939. Cape Cod Morning was painted in 1950. And there is a bit another feeling captured there. There is a similar house like this with the woman looking out of the window, and it's morning, and there is light and this typical excitement feeling of expectations of what they will bring you. But somehow, maybe just knowing the painter, knowing the Hopper's, let's say, style, we know that basically afternoon or evening won't bring any good, meaning according to the huge expectations that the morning brings, this morning light, the evening is simple, or so yeah, one can read this feeling in painting. Cool, let's jump into paints, not to talk too much. So I suggest we start with the grass for the reason that starting with a lighter color always is better. We can take a bit bigger brush. So we're gonna use this peachy color as it is. Again, if you don't have peachy color, just mix yellow and pink, and then you can add white color to make it accordingly as light as you need. To this one, I'm also going to be adding white, because Hopper has like really pale and then has it really brightish areas. And then I'm going to start with like pale ones, and then adding already more in a stripe form, the darker ones. So what I'm doing, I'm taking, so basically what you need first to create this really pale peachy color, and not only pale using white, but also using more water. So I'm basically creating like here a pile of watery paint. Because acrylics, they can act as oils or as watercolors. And now we need this watercolory structure, so it's basically more transparent. So then we use also the whiteness of the paper to capture. And basically just cover. So here, not much thinking is involved. So basically with this very pale peach color, I'm covering the base. Not the dog, not the legs of the people. And sometimes I see people when starting using paints, they have more difficult time creating pale colors rather than bright. So they're just lacking experience with the proportions. And let's say they would create here much more darker tone from the start. And it just brings difficulties for later when you try to create the other colors, other like tones, and then you're not getting this effect of light and dark because it's already dark from the start. So please try to get this first layer as light as possible. It goes more or less here. So we still see these peachy colors into the forest. And so more or less our base color is ready. Once it's done, I'm gonna switch to a bit smaller brush, and I'm gonna start using the technique that is called dry brush technique, meaning that I'm not using that much water as in this first part. So now the opposite, of course, I use a little bit of water. So water make wet my brush, get off some rest of the, but still, example, like now it's again still a bit too watery, but I get the paint on my brush. What also you can do, you can just like not wipe, but just press a little bit, bringing like out a bit some water. And now we're gonna already start creating more like those parts of the grass. Yeah, and here, of course, you can follow the Hopper's way as he did brush. So basically, I'm starting from one side and going up. Yeah, here I did a bit too dark because of talking too much. Well, if you're fast in acrylics, you can remove. Yeah, we know acrylics are drying fast. So basically, there are two ways of correcting mistakes. Either you're quick, and then with the help of water, you just remove the paint. But acrylic is drying really fast, so you need to be really quick. And so if you're not quick, then you just wait till it's dry and you add some white paint on top. And then when it's white color is dry, you add on top the color you need. Yeah? So the dry brush technique is the technique you use when you need a little bit of texture. You need the grass, you need the hair, you need some fur. Because the way it works, because of the lack of water, the brush is kind of painting and not painting. So it's leaving some brush strokes, but not everywhere. And this is exactly the effect we're looking forward. And yeah, that helps us. So here in the grass, we have these pale colors, and we have also a little bit of this bluishy. And of course, we're gonna use it once we have, we are working with the forest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you see your strokes are too harsh, you can always wet your brush a bit and just soften them, like soften the edges, you know, like here or yeah. Basically, the usage of the brushes and the paint is the feeling of how much water you need, because in each moment you need a bit different amount, how wet should be your brush, and it's something, it's not a rocket science. It's something you learn, like, should not learn, you start feeling it when it's how much is right. Just when, you know, the experience, it comes. So no worries if you're doing still some mistakes. Practice makes you better. Nice, we let our grass dry. No worries that it's like pale. The dark forest will bring the balance. So let's move to the next step and have the house done. And basically, well, I should have done it actually before we started paints, but I forgot. So if you're watching the recording and you still have time, go back. So what I like to do, I like to lighten up the lines. I also made them darker and thicker, because then it's easier for you to see from the computer. But when you use paints, especially the house going to be light, then the pencil like shines through. And I mean, it's not the end of the world, but still it's nice, you know, not to have it so. So I'm not erasing everything, but still, you see, like the areas we already got with water, then of course I cannot erase it. I cannot lighten up, but it's fine. Those areas gonna have some dark part. So this is important for parts where it's gonna be light. Let's say here gonna be dark forest. This line I could leave dark. Here also I'm gonna try to do something. You can blow it, the leftovers away, or using the dry, clean brush. Yeah, but of course, be sure they are gone. You don't want them when the water is there. So a very kind of beautiful pale color of pale grayish blue. So I already kind of have it here, but still it's gonna need lighten up. Again, if you want to, you don't have it, it's normal. Like if you have just standard set of 12 colors, then you take blue, brown, and white. And blue and brown are mixed, I would say even half-half, maybe more blue still, like if you want it a bit more bluish. And then of course white, to lighten this. Okay, and then again, maybe I'm gonna use a bit of bigger brush, and again, the same technique as in the start, that watery. So again, the first layer usually comes watery as the base, and on top we're sitting darker layers. I'm taking more white. I'm just dipping a little bit my brush into this grayish, because I know like the light gray I need requires more white than gray. And then again, dipping my brush into the water, bringing some more water here. Yeah, so there are two ways how you make your paint lighter, either by adding white or by adding more water. Of course, there are differences. If you add more water, you basically just dilute it, so it's just less paint pigment. And it works, especially when it's the first layer and on the white paper. So then the whiteness of the paper works as the there's also some like whitening effect. And well, basically, again, without much thinking, I'm actually covering all the house area, because again, I've done this color so thin and transparent that any color will be able to cover it. But again, basically, as this is the lightest color of this area, then it will be no problem adding on top darker layers. Hopper painted with oil paints. So of course, oil paints, it's the other way how you work. But still, of course, you follow the light and darkness, and then it's the same. It's easier to cover, to make dark easier than go back to the light areas. So this building is not a real building, is not a real place. It's something Hopper like made a composition of some others places he saw. So he would, prepare the sketches and so on. Okay, I changed to the smaller brush, and we do the shadow parts. And now I basically can use just this grayish as it is. And here again, you can play having it a bit more bluish, maybe. Yeah. And here, of course, it's really up to you. You can use like really tiny brush and make it much, much more accurate. So basically, we're making one side darker, and we make darker the areas that are like under, so under the roof. It's very interesting to study light in Hopper's paintings. And I think he said himself that if you could paint only one topic, it would be light, just paint light. Okay, so these are like main shadows. What else I would do? I will take a thin brush. So if you don't have a thin brush, get one. It's always comfy to use. And when you need a thin lines, and when you need the thin lines, basically the secret lies in having tiny brush and making your mix watery. So when it's this dry technique, it doesn't work because you will not be able to draw a long thin line. Yeah. So let's say if I want like, yeah, and then just also maybe being a bit more like brave, and just placing those lines. So here, this is something also can be done with dry brush techniques. Those deciding of the house. Yeah. And again, the secret here is not doing each line. It's more creating the feeling. Still here, don't forget about the perspective. So the line is going to be changing. So here at the bottom, they're going to go up. And somewhere here, they're going to be horizontal, and then they're going to be down. If in some case you got like too thick line, just quickly take some water, and with water you can just blend it out. Huh? Yeah, because we don't like, it's not something like we don't want a zebra, but still we want to have a feeling of the material of the house to create the lines and then lighten them up. Yeah, maybe also some lines at the okay. Some more or less. We have the house. And again, I'm gonna let it dry because it's gonna have some reddish brownish elements, but I would prefer to have it dry before going with the yeah. And so it's good to jump in a painting because it gives you the opportunity to so the one area rests, dries, and then it's more safe to move in there. Nice. Okay, let's move to the trees. They have also a bit more intense dark areas. And here we're gonna start, let's say, with the middle tone. So, because we have like middle darkness of the trees, and then we're gonna add some blackish for the deepness, and we're gonna bring some lighter spots for the tree that is closer. But maybe actually we're gonna start with the trunks. Yeah, and then we're gonna place, or let me think. No, let's start with the middle layer. Okay, so we are thinking blue again. So let's say I can take the dark blue and now I can make the middle layer. So if you have left over your grayish, it can be also help to mix. You can grayish or with the water, with thing. Yeah, no, a bit lighter. Yeah. Ooh, a bit too light. Let's think. Right. And again, I'm just gonna cover the whole area. So now I'm creating my base color, but I'm already choosing the different tonality and not really transparent. So I'm not worried about making my paint watery. I'm being careful here because, well, to give the effect of the hopper, because he's like really precise. And I couldn't be very precise in the house area. I mean, it just requires more time. Yeah, and what I do when I'm coming towards my orangey, then I need to either clean well the brush or take a new, maybe clean brush. So like this one, you can still leave with the blue on top, because we know the blue, like you need to clean it well. So basically, it's easier for me. I just take some other clean brush, make it watery, and just kind of make this edge watery, maybe with a little paint, no? And just kind of blur in. Yeah, we're gonna have a trunks there. They're still gonna also have help to do this connection, but you can do like this, and you can even use a little bit of the paper towel. It can also help to kind of soften the edge. It's fine. You can go a little bit on top of the orangey. Okay. Nice. So we are giving time to dry and thinking about the colors of the trunks. So they are brownishy, but they have again also a lot of this grayish blue on top. So I'm gonna take brown, but make it like not too dark or and a small brush. How we choose the size of the brush? It's about, let's say, of course, if I would work on A3 paper, bigger, I take bigger brushes. So it's basically all just about the size. So you just feel comfortable to work. So take brown, and I'm going to start creating the trunks. So remember, again, the simple rule of perspective. What's closer to us is bigger. What's more far away from us is smaller. And the more you make these stripes, we're gonna cover them with the leaves and the parts of them. And of course, maybe it's also a bit more logical here to start with the tiniest also trees, like the ones more behind, because then you can feel like what's the tiniest your brush can do. Yeah, and so like even if your brush doesn't do really tiny, basically what you need is then make the frontal ones thicker. Yeah, so but it's important to have the differences in the thickness, different also in the position. So you see some higher, some lower, and so on. And also be very careful with the distance between the trees. It is something, again, our brain likes to do. It likes to organize the things. And very often we just place things with the same distance in between. And in paintings, it's not good for paintings because it makes them boring. So basically what you need to do, just change the distances. Let's say here I did this little mistake, but I know it and I can correct it by adding some other tree in between or making one tree a bit thicker and so on and so on. Yeah. And you see, I don't make my trunks big because we're not gonna have them like visible very big. So and the trunk's gonna have also some grayish color. So it's also gonna help to modify a bit. Since I have thin brush and I have brown color in there, I'm gonna jump and do some shadowing on the windows of the house. Yes, again, jumping in the areas of painting is good. Helps, like, instead of sitting and waiting, and that of course we all have problems with this. We just go paint somewhere else and the other area will be dry meanwhile. So again, to make a thin line, a thin brush, and make the paint watery. Yeah, so I made this mix here, this brownish mix with a bit more water. Okay. So let's say the aim of what we're doing today is not a perfect painting as Hopper did. It's more about choosing the sequence of the work, choosing the like what paints to start with, what consistency, as we're talking more liquidish or less water, more water. And so of course it's helpful for, like, if you're just starting out and you're still experimenting with acrylics, because if you're pro, of course you already know it. What else? So if you want to make your brown darker, again, you can add just a bit of bluish. I use a lot brown and blue together instead of black color, because we know the black color is something like you should be careful with, because often it makes the paintings dirty. Like you just need to avoid that it gets too water and it starts mixing with other colors. Like if you use black really like in some spot dry area, it's fine. But because if it starts mixing with other colors, then it gets just, you know, dirty feeling. And and some painters in the past, they would even not work with black at all. So I got windows, I got the hands. Let's see if I have something with the dog that I can also do meanwhile. Yeah, the ending of the pants I tried to do like this, so we have a feeling of the grass. Yeah? Maybe like if you make it even more watery and it's very light, you can also do a little bit of outlines of the hands, like a little bit like this skin color, but very light. So basically, even I took this peachy one with some parts of brown. Just and again, I can also use it for the leg. So just something this brownish peachy color for the bodies. They're both blonde, the lady and the guy, so okay, maybe we can make it then. Yeah, then we just take some ochre, tiny bit. And I'm not gonna even put the ochre on the palette, just like dipping my brush here inside the tube and just placing some. And then you can analyze, let's say maybe there is a bit darker, like as usual, and the neck is a bit darker, so you can add a bit shadow and then it gives feeling. I wanted to do the dog. So the dog also has a bit some brownish areas, but it also has these orange areas. Now let's put a bit of orange that we're also gonna need for the house maybe. So actually there it's not so much colors used. Like when I started preparing the paints for this painting, I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, so that's just what I need. Yeah, and it's good, meaning like actually it's not that easy to paint a good painting with minimal set of colors. And it's something that is always advisable for beginners because it's normal, like you buy a big set of paints and then you have lots of them and then you get confused. And so basically like even making your life more difficult and just painting with primary colors. That of course means you just like you need to mix a lot. But of course it gives the effect. Okay, since we kind of almost did all the people, I'm gonna also finish the yeah, so my hand got a bit too dark, and this is something how you correct mistakes. So it's already dry, of course. So basically all I need is to take white and just place it there, then wait, and then when it's dry, I add again some other lighter color. Sometimes it works also if I add now white, a bit more watery, and it means it's gonna just lighten the area, and then actually like don't need later to add some other tone. Yeah, I can, like if I'm fine, I can leave it this way. So the t-shirt I can actually leave white. We can of course later do some bluish shadings maybe. Okay, let's put some greenish color for the dress. Yeah, again, don't need much. And then basically, at least I need two. I need like the light area and the darker area. So here with my pale grayish, I made it lighter. And then I can color again, just the whole dress. And later I'm gonna add the shadows. Yeah, so it's like the simplest way to do it, like the quickest maybe. Yes, of course, if I leave it like this, it's gonna be too boring, too flat. Yeah, so some of the shadows. Oh well. Nice. Let's let it dry as well. I'm kind of really. I want to play a little bit with also bluish shadows here with some maybe curtains. Again, use paper towel if you want to like correct something. And then it was a little bit here on the t-shirt. And it was a little bit here on the dog. And there were also some in the grass, but maybe we come back. You see, I did it a bit too dark. If I'm quick, with a paper towel, I make it lighter, and that's it. Yeah. Or with a watery brush. Actually, this green color kind of suits here as well. And you see, ooh, too bright, too bright. So I'm quick, making it watery, taking paint off, and then just making more watery mix, playing with some those greenish parts. Yeah, interesting. This one in the grass, it's more the color of the dress rather than the trees. Well, maybe some. Yeah, it's also so like somewhere here we have again. You see, I'm sitting. It's too dark, and just use sports with paper towel. But it works with paper towel if it's wet enough. Yeah, if you're placing it too dry, it's here already next to the trees. It can become darker. Yeah, because it's already the area we're creating the forest area. Yeah, and here you can maybe go 2 times. So you can create this, make it a bit lighter, and then you can go again on top if you need like some. And then the trees, as I said, they have also these kind of grayish layers. Even grayish green, I don't know. Yeah. So of course, Hopper already did for us all those choices. We basically just take them and okay, let's work on the trees. So here is my spot. Oh, a bit too nice. Later we can come back, maybe do a bit more. All right. So now I will use again the dry brush technique. So I don't need much water. I'm taking smaller brush, and with one of these already a bit like mixes, so already a bit more pale blue. I'm gonna create just, and I'm gonna hold my brush like this, like with the edge, so not flat, but with edge, and we're gonna do the tapping, so we create the feeling of the tree. And there is one tree also going a bit on top of the house. And of course, like now we do just one color. So then it would be good at least one more to create the and then again, I can take maybe a bit darker one and add maybe with this brush or now let's continue tapping. So now I can take a bit darker. Maybe some of these will be the middle tone. There is some. Yeah, so basically we need to create the It's also important to wash your brush well when you go from light to dark. Let's say now I had this light, this grayish left over on my brush, and then when I go to the dark area, like it stays there, and it kind of also doesn't let you to create the dark effect. Yeah, so it's not also ruining light with dark, but you can also ruin dark with light. So, and basically we do this horizontal line tapping by creating the effect of the trees. Nice. Maybe also a bit more dark. Somewhere there, and even a bit with the brownish, maybe like here in between the trees, so creating a bit more. Yeah, like if you paint light, you need to paint the shadow. Yeah, otherwise it won't be that visible. So. Yeah, so basically you see what I did. So first we had this middle layer of this blue, and now just with one layer that is lighter and this darker one. So we already have kind of the feeling of the forest and some movement there. So basically almost that's it. We're gonna add those orangey details of the house. And then of course, so this would be like the start moment. And then if you want, you can always like do the, you know, start doing your artworks more elaborated. So on top of this, you go and do more fine detailing. Yeah. Here, this one I did, maybe too much, but again, so I can like blend them out. And the magic of the paper towel. Yeah. So, and then again, you see, and then they are there, but not that like some stripes. And the magic of paper towel. And voila, very easy. Yeah, this one I see like, this one is maybe a bit not easy because something like I want to get it light, but then when I do it light, it disappears. Yeah, so, but it just means I need to do several layers of the same technique. So I'm putting it, and then I'm removing a little bit with paper towel, so it's not that bright. Yeah, but then if it's like, it's not there anymore, then I just do the one more layer. Nice. one interesting fact I actually read about this painting, that the name firstly, like, or maybe it's a story or it's true, that it should have been called whippoorwill. That is the name of one bird. Or it could have been called seagull, another bird, meaning like something outside the painting. So something like the dog is hearing the birds and it's reacting. And I found it's like very, very interesting, like calling a painting by something that it's not on the painting. Yes. I think that would be a cool thing. You see, and here I can again, like, of course, go and second time work a bit more on some areas. A bit more maybe detailing. Of course, I'm not competing with the preciseness of copper. I think it's not many people who can. I mean, of course it's doable, but just requires time. But today we have a really like 1 hour painting. It's more just to practice our skills. Of course, you can pause and paint longer, like as much time as you need. Oh, and the orangey reddish part of the house. I think it gives the nice accent. So again, we need less red, more orange. The brush that is not that big. I got some pinky. So now let's put more reddish. Still maybe smaller brush. Yeah, and here actually, like, if your line at the bottom is not perfect, is nicer. It's the have a feeling of the grass. Still, I think I got a bit wrong. The color should have been more like reddish orangey brown, like more like brick color. Here I'm creating already manually the effect of the grass. So maybe also like something a bit like, you know, red and green. They are complementary colors, maybe the green of the, yeah, and there is a little one accent here on the roof. It's like very little one, but still is a nice touch. Cool. With the red, definitely looks nicer. Maybe some touch-ups for the dog with some brownishy. Just a little bit like here. Oh, A bit too dark, maybe like the nose and the mouth, the eye. Yeah, remember again, if you put something too dark, just with the wet brush, you just clean and blend it out. Okay. Well, that's it. I'm saying you thank you for watching. Hope it helped you. Hope you learned something. Yeah. Nice. I have ignored the faces of the people. You can, of course, let's try it. But it's always a risky story. It's always better leaving just nothing, rather trying to put the eyes. And it's other, if it works, like, it's about feeling the right place as well. Yeah, and then so sometimes it's really better not to do it rather than do and have some really weird. But like if it's from far away, and then you can always again use the same technique. You just blend out a bit, use a bit of napkin, and it's fine. Nice. Let's take the tape off. Voila. Cape Cod Evening by Edward Hopper. Thank you for watching. Bye.